Yeah, yeah, I've heard that there's a turf group coming to my hometown. Supposed to be coming on 4th of October. So, and that will include Miranda Yardley, Linda Bellos, who else is there? Stephanie Davis Arai, and ooh, Heather Brunskill Evans. So yeah, so so this fringe minority transphobic group has been invited to Newport by a fringe element of the Green Party. Um, so obviously we don't know where they're going to be meeting at the moment because they only reveal where the venue is going to be right until the last moment. So yeah, so we've been debating, in the sort of trans LGBT community, what we're going to do about it. So we don't quite know yet. So I won't say what we're going to do because if somebody from the TERF sort of gender critical community see this video, which is highly unlikely because my videos aren't watched by, you know, people who are transphobic normally. They're watched by allies and friends. So um, I, yeah, I just feel it's a pity that people have got to be that way though. I mean, why pick on trans people, And I mean, when there's so much, I mean, the bulk of violence, abuse, and discrimination against women, including trans women, comes from cisgender heterosexual males, but not all cisgender heterosexual males. I know a lot of guys who are really, really nice. A lot of cisgender people who are really nice. Um, it's just like a minority of cisgender males who kind of control the rest of us, and the these people who are identifying as gender critical feminists are actually aligning themselves with some of the most sort of right wing, oppressive, sort of anti feminist males there are, And so, yeah, and they're aligning with these people like David T.C. Davis and the evangelical right in the United States of America. Even the far right, they're aligning themselves with these people to shift the blame for cishet male violence onto a minority group of women. And I don't really understand why you'd want to do that if you were a feminist. It just seems antithetical to feminism. So, yeah. Anyway, they're coming to where to my hometown. They've been to Cardiff, and what we did is we held a vigil and gave some speeches. We didn't actually directly confront them, and I think that was such a good policy because the as soon as you're standing out there with a placard anywhere near the venue, they later then post it on Twitter or Facebook or get one of their allies in the mainstream press to sort of publish a piece on how transgender activists are violently threatening them and trying to silence them. So I think the way to go is to actually, just to sort of just have a vigil somewhere else or make our organize a counter event which is better and hopefully bigger, because my hometown hasn't had a pride yet. It's not through onto trying. We just can't find enough volunteers to do it. So, and it would be good to have something like a trans event in Newport because I know a lot of trans people in Newport. So I've just revealed where I live, but there we go. But, I don't think I'm going to get any crazy stalkers because I'm rarely at home anyway, so I'm usually in Cardiff. But yeah, I mean, yeah, I think that's the way to go, and to make our event a really positive one, and also to have speeches, and not to ignore the fact that an extremist transphobic group is here, but to have speeches about it, and sort of, get all our allies together, because I think the majority of people support us. I mean, these people are like extremists who've got it in for trans people in pretty much the same way that an Islamophobic group has got it in for Muslims, or sort of Holocaust revisionist group has got it in for Jewish people. Um, I think these people, these so-called sort of gender critical feminists who actually hide behind feminism, in my belief, to espouse basically blatant transphobia. Um, I think that most people don't want to live in their sort of world. Most people aren't extremists. Most people take other people as they come, whether they're transgender, whatever the color of their skin is, whatever their religion is. It's just kind of like they don't, if you're a good person, if you don't, if you don't pose a threat to the other person, then you just accept it then. It's just people just get along because of their own nature, or how they are. They don't sort of like, and you can't even like sort of predict who you're going to fall in love with. I mean, it's just it's just sad that people have to prejudge others before they've even met them. And yeah, so I think that's the way forward, to have a good sort of counter event, and try and get as many people coming as possible. Maybe even get transgender flags at the railway station when the Terfs arrive, because they'll see that and they'll think, oh, what's going on here? Just to show that Newport is a place that supports its trans community, because it can feel really, really horrible just to be sort of, it's bad enough when you're getting it on Twitter, when you're seeing the negative articles about trans people in the press, that i.e. that we're sacrificing children and all that, and that's unbelievable. That headline was in the Times, although it was a metaphor. I mean, it draws upon well, speaking as somebody who's part Jewish, I find it really offensive, because it draws on medievalist blood libel. I mean, it's just horrible. And a lot of the tactics they're using are actually lifted from anti-Semitic propaganda. Whether that's consciously or subconsciously, I don't know. Because I'm not going to rule out the fact that they've hired somebody who, some right-wing sort of consultant who's kind of like drawing up the best way that they can demonize trans people and scapegoat us. And so they're drawing on historical parallels of what the Nazis used to do, and what people used to do in medieval Europe, and not only medieval times, but 19th century and that. So yeah, that that to my mind is just so damning of their actual true sort of nature, a lot of these groups. And yeah, so I do hope that we can have a counter event like we had in Cardiff, which was actually miles away from the venue. And also, we had a really lovely concert afterwards with transgender performers in one of the buildings of the museum, of the not museum, the university, because it was all in Cathays, that like our sort of the backdrop for our actual kind of event was actually really, really amazing, because we sort of like gave speeches on the steps of the museum, so we've got that lovely sort of kind of those pillars and the steps and everything. And I gave a little speech as well, which was which was to kind of possibly confuse people, but yeah, but it was a first for me, and I enjoyed being with people who were allies and friends, and turning a negative sort of invasion of our city into a positive event, you know, which was full of love and hope and happiness, really. So yeah, it's so that's the way we should go forward, I think. And so I'm going to say cheerio for now, and I will chat to you all again. So bye bye, and see if I can switch this off again. So I'm still rubbish at working out my new camera. I'm going to try and overlay this with text, by the way, because I've downloaded a free video editor with help of one of the lovely guys from our IT department in work, and I'm going to try and get sort of like some images of what the kind of things that the Terfs have been saying on Twitter, just to kind of give people an idea, if you don't know already, of how some of these people can be, you know. So yeah, so you may have this video annotated with scripts, and you may not. So we'll see how I get on. So cheerio.